Okay, this evening we need to talk about equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So if you'll recall, parallel lines never touch and they have the same slope but different y-intercepts. And so we can tell two equations are parallel without looking at the graph if we have their equations and can tell that their slopes are the same. So the important part here is that we remember parallel lines have the same slope. So if I have a line that has a slope of 1/2 and line D is parallel to that line, what would its slope be? Well, they would have the same slope. So the slope of line D would also be 1/2. Perpendicular lines then are lines that intersect specifically at a 90-degree angle. If I take the slope of one line and multiply it by the slope of the other line, if their product is -1, then those two lines are perpendicular. So in order to find the slope of a line perpendicular to one that has a slope of 1/2, okay, so if I have a slope of 1/2, the perpendicular, that's what this little symbol means, perpendicular slope would be the opposite reciprocal. Opposite reciprocal. That means I change it to negative since this one is positive. So this would be negative, and the reciprocal means I flip the fraction. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. So this would be the perpendicular slope, and I can check that by checking the product of the two slopes. The product of the two slopes should be -1, and that indeed is true. Okay, in this last example we have, are the following lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So in order to determine this, I need to get their slopes and compare those slopes. And in order to do that, I have to solve each one for y to get the slope from it. So what I've done here is I moved the 2x to the other side of the equation, making it -2x. And then I divided by the 3, giving me -2/3 x plus 3. So the slope in this case is -2/3. If I look at the second equation, all I had to do was divide by the -2, and so that gives me a positive 3/2 x minus 4. So that slope is 3/2. Now, if the product of these slopes, well, I already know that to be parallel, in order to be parallel, I have to have the same slopes. These are not the same. In order to be perpendicular, I have to have a product of -1. So if I multiply -2/3 by positive 2/3, I do get a product of -1. So these lines are indeed perpendicular. This gives us a special case because we have a vertical line and a horizontal line. And I just have to know that a vertical line intersects a horizontal line at a 90-degree angle, and so these two lines are perpendicular. The other thing that you will have to do is write equations of lines that are parallel or perpendicular. We've already covered how to write an equation. The only thing different is that you will need to change the slope if it's perpendicular, or use the same slope if it's parallel. And I'll see you tomorrow in class.